Well, guys, by a massive landslide, Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl won the Disney poll on my Twitter. And in this victory, you all have unlocked the next retro series on my channel, which I'm making sound like a damn video game achievement. But nevertheless, I'm going to review all 5 Pirates movies that we've received, all to celebrate the 20th anniversary of this first movie right here. Which, I gotta be honest, Curse of the Black Pearl is a huge comfort movie for yours truly. We follow an infamous pirate, Captain Jack Sparrow, played by Johnny Depp in his most famous role. Sparrow arrives at Port Royal in the Caribbean without a ship or a crew. As would be the case through this whole series, his timing is very inopportune, because later that evening, the town is under siege by his old pirate ship, the Black Pearl, led by the evil Captain Barbossa, played by Geoffrey Rush. Barbossa and his group kidnap the governor's daughter, Elizabeth Swan, played by Keira Knightley, because she's in the possession of a valuable coin or a medallion that's linked to a curse, the Curse of the Black Pearl itself. See, what this does is it basically transforms Barbossa and his crew into undead zombie pirates whenever they touch the moonlight. That's pretty freaking dope. Like, this movie's got pirates, it's got zombies, it's PG-13. What's not to like? So, how does Elizabeth get rescued? Well, a gallant blacksmith named Will Turner, played by Orlando Bloom, who is in love with her, forms an alliance with Captain Jack Sparrow, all in pursuit of Sparrow's former boatmates. Wait, boatmates? I don't know if that's the right word for it. I'm a big fan of the Disney theme parks. I try to go to Disneyland at least twice a year at this stage of my life. Pirates has always been a go-to ride and a must every trip. And I gotta say, when I was about 7 years old, people were all joking about like, oh my god, Bruckheimer's putting this on, Johnny Depp looks so freaking silly. Like, has Disney really run out of ideas? Lo and behold, Pirates of the Caribbean turned into one of Disney's biggest franchises. I have such a huge soft spot for this film. Yes, this is very silly in premise, and it's the ultimate definition of a turn your brain off style movie. But there's just something about Curse of the Black Pearl that just works. And I think I've pinpointed the one thing above all else that this movie is: fun. There is an undeniable amount of pure swashbuckling fun just seeping through every frame. And yes, it's very clear that this is a Disney product, but director Gore Verbinski unloads enough of his dark imagery to really make this bad boy stand out. I mean, for God's sakes, this is the same director who did The Ring the previous year. Anybody ever see The Ring? Huge departure for this guy. But there are just so many amazing, memorable facets of this movie that never have escaped my mind since the first time I laid eyes on it. Every time you hear this amazing score by Klaus Badelt, you immediately feel like you're transported into this action. Gore Verbinski also got the same DP that did The Crow not too long before this, and my god, this movie looks absolutely stunning. At 20 years old, the look of this movie still holds up. And this came at a time where pirates were not really looked at as a serious form of entertainment or a serious subject matter. But with how Gore Verbinski is presenting this material, while also adding in an amazingly fun screenplay, also while tying in enough clever homages to the ride, who can forget the point where the pirates are in the jail cell and the puppy dog is just sitting there with the jailer's keys? It's the most memorable part of the Disney ride every time you float past it. And that's another thing. I'm sure that a lot of people going into 2003 were heavily concerned that they were going to make a movie that was so centered around vignettes. Because if you ride pirates at Disneyland or something like that, it's all presented to you in small short story form. The classic version, that is. But then once these movies started gaining steam and popularity and Captain Jack Sparrow took over the world, they refurbished that ride to look more like the movies. And I think it was a really, really smart play for these writers to go for a full cohesive narrative. Like any good pirate tale with a good injection of fun, it's all centered on revenge. Revenge and a curse, that is. And it's a brilliant direction for Gore Verbinski and these guys to take. Now I gotta talk about Johnny Depp, because this is, in my eyes, one of the most talented actors alive right now. This guy, like, I gotta be honest, I don't think he could do any wrong, and I don't think he ever will do any wrong. This role, I feel like, showcases exactly how Johnny Depp is as a performer, and it's a perfect summary of how he is. Because all the choices he makes as Captain Jack Sparrow are so creatively courageous, and all of his delivery is just so out there. His presentation is like, again, if you watch the trailer, he looks very silly, and a lot of people are like, God, we're supposed to take this guy seriously as our hero? Which is why his introduction is unironically my favorite character introduction, I think, of all time. You have the amazing score swelling in the background. You have the camera just zipping around this guy. He's up in the crow's nest and he looks so majestic. And then he realizes there's a puddle in his boat, and that's when the camera cuts, and it's perfect editing here. You realize that his boat, like, it's a piece of shit. Like, it should be no surprise that he goes to the port to actually go get a brand new ship. My God, once he unloads himself off that dilapidated vessel, it's just, like, non-stop memorable one-liners from this guy. No civilians are allowed in the port. I'm terribly sorry, I didn't know. If I see anybody, I'll be sure to make you aware immediately. May have been paraphrasing there. I've been working on the Sparrow impression for a while, but, like... Man, oh man. That's just to give you an idea of his eccentricity. Immediately, once you see his whole first act, where he's trying to intercept the interceptor, you realize you're not supposed to take him seriously. But yet he still comes across so badass in every way. Love what he did in this role. And, like, undisputedly, this is his signature role. You can say what you want about Edward Scissorhands and anything he did with Tim Burton, but this is it. Not just Depp himself. All these actors they got, they look like they're having the times of their lives. Geoffrey Rush feels like he was born to play a pirate. Every word out of his mouth, you can just feel him relishing it. And I love the chemistry that he shares with Jack Sparrow. And they don't share very many scenes together, mind you. But in the small amount of screen time that they share, you feel the feud. You feel the rivalry. Thank you, Jack. You're welcome. Not you, Jack. I named the monkey Jack. It's just so silly. Now, this brings me to the quote-unquote bland couple that kind of balances out all this chaos here. Keira Knightley and Orlando Bloom. Now, let me just say for the record, I don't hate these characters whatsoever. I think Elizabeth Swann especially, who is played wonderfully by Keira Knightley, I think she gets a bad rep a lot of the time. A lot of people might call her character boring. Her only memorable line might be the corset dialogue that she gets in a very fun climax. Which, before I forget, that climax might be one of my favorites of all time. It's got everything. Bombs exploding in these undead zombies. You've got swashbuckling swordplay. You've got betrayal. You've got all this amazing stuff. But I love how they portray Keira Knightley as someone who knows that she's not able to fight a lot of these pirates that she encounters. So she basically beats them with her wit. She beats them with her intelligence. Like, how about calling parlay on some of Barbossa's crew members? Or how about the way she outsmarts Barbossa at every turn? And she does get some funny moments here and there. I love when she first puts on the corset at the beginning and she can't breathe in it. She actually ends up falling off this cliff when the Commodore is actually about to propose to her. Actually winds up saving her. Kinda love Johnny Depp's reactions when he actually sees that someone jumped off the ledge and into the water. He's like, can you swim? I'm telling you, it's not very good. I'm working on it. Well, I think Keira Knightley is solid in the movie. Orlando Bloom, I don't hate Orlando Bloom. I really don't. I think he's throwing his all into this. I just think the character wasn't portrayed the way I would have liked it. Because if all he has is swordplay as a blacksmith and all that, how he practices with him every single day, the fact that he kind of comes off more so the dashing hero kind of makes it a bit of a boring choice. Like, how much more interesting would this character have been if he were a dork too? Part of me gets why they picked Orlando Bloom to play this part and why he was directed to play this part this way. I don't know. I mean, I think for a better balance of character in here, imagine if Will Turner was some guy who was completely out of Elizabeth's league and he was trying to impress her any way possible. I don't know. I think that was a missed opportunity in hindsight. Orlando Bloom's not bad in the movie at all. I quite enjoy him. He comes off very likable in a lot of scenes. I like how he sacrifices himself when Barbossa figures out that Will is the one that he needs the blood from. But I think one teeny character tweak would have really worked wonders. And looking in hindsight also, while I'm on my little nitpicks about Pirates of the Caribbean, because I really do love this movie with all my heart, but Will Turner isn't the most interesting character on a rewatch. And listening to a lot of this dialogue, it appears very exposition heavy, doesn't it? Lots of words sprouting off of the page for you to learn as much about these characters as possible in 2.5 hours, which a lot of people complain about the length. I don't mind the length at all. I think it's perfect. But when you make a movie that's based off of one of the most famous Disney theme park rides of all time, you can kind of assume right away that Disney's name is on it. Disney didn't have to do anything else to put their stamp on it and say, hey, That's one of our movies. I mean, maybe they were compensating for the fact that their signature didn't air before the title goes on screen full blast, which was edgy for the time, like my word. And yeah, I mean, I laughed at a lot of these jokes, especially from Johnny Depp. But when you have certain moments like Jonathan Pryce's character dressing up as Captain Hook, when you have Elizabeth Swann accusing Barbossa of trying to poison her via apple, when you have one of the crew members literally say a line about a Little Mermaid, isn't that a little bit too on the nose? I don't know, guys. I may be nitpicking at this point, but honestly, I adore Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl. I think it's easily, far and away, best installment in the series for sure. There's some other good things about the sequels that we'll get to in later videos, but this is the pinnacle of the Pirates series, far and away. It gives you Johnny Depp's greatest performance, perhaps of his entire career. All these other actors, especially Geoffrey Rush, come off like they're having a blast on set. Gore Verbinski's direction is fantastic. The musical score and the theme is amongst my favorites in all cinema. Call it crazy all you want, but this is a brilliant Bruckheimer production. I'm gonna give Curse of the Black Pearl an A. And after that, it feels like it's going to be all downhill from here. Stay tuned for my next installment in the Pirates Retro series when we talk about the sequel from 2006, Dead Man's Chest. A movie that I feel like gets a bad rep from a lot of people. I really enjoy it. And we'll talk more about that when that video comes closer. But guys, let me know what you thought of Curse of the Black Pearl down in the comments section below. Do you guys have any memories of going to see Curse of the Black Pearl in the theaters or at home? Let me know. If you've ever been to one of the Disney theme parks, what is your favorite ride? Pirates to me is tied with Rise of the Resistance. Just throwing that out there. If you've never been on Rise of the Resistance, it will change your life. But guys, I love discussing all new things in movies and entertainment on the regular. If you guys love all these topics, this channel is the place to be. So what the heck are you waiting for? Go ahead and become a subscriber today. Tap on that notification bell so you don't miss another second of the action. Do me a favor and smash that like button as well. Only helps continue to grow this amazing community that we've already built together. Guys, y'all are the best. Stay tuned for more videos very soon. Looking forward to watching Shazam 2 over the weekend as well, and I'll definitely be reviewing that. Should be a lot of fun over here, guys. You don't want to miss it. With all that being said, back talk, commence.